What's going on, you guys? Coach Nate here with Fortis Powerlifting, and today I got a little bit of a different video planned. We're gonna go a little bit longer than my usual fun reels, but hopefully you guys can find this information helpful, useful, and you can kind of implement it into your training. So I received this question last week, and I'm just gonna go ahead and answer it here on this video. And the question was, I wanted to ask you for advice on how you go about programming, running, and training, and just what are some basic do's and don'ts. So this is a great question, and for those of you that don't know, I have been successfully running and powerlifting for the past 2 years now. I started in 2023, kind of like in the middle of 2023, and at first I just started adding in just a little bit of running. I think I started at 10 minutes each time, maybe 15, and I built it up to where I'm running 30 minutes twice a week, but that's all I do for running, all right? So it's 30 minutes twice a week, and just what I've been able to accomplish last year, 2024, I was able to train and then successfully complete a 15K, which is the furthest that I've ever run in my life. And then in the same year, later that year, November, I was able to hit a PR total of 1609 pounds on the platform for powerlifting. So I was able to do both those things in the same year. And this year, I'm starting out things a little bit different. I'm a couple weeks out actually from my own little challenge to myself, where I'm doing the 15K race, just like I did last year. My goal is to get it as close to 90 minutes as possible. If I can accomplish that, that'll take off 3 minutes per mile on my speed from last year. And again, I've just been running 30 minutes twice a week. That's it. So 1 hour per week into the running bucket, if you will. And then later on in the year, my goals for powerlifting is to step back on the platform and get as close to that 1700 mark as possible. So that's this year's goals. But that's not the question. The question is, how do you do it? All right, so I'm gonna break it down for you guys. Really, the first thing is you have to set a priority. So if you're training for 2 different things or 3 different things, whatever you're doing, you have to set a priority. If you don't have a priority, then you're gonna be all over the place and nothing's really gonna progress. In addition to that, you're gonna have, you're gonna open up the door for there to be injuries, like chronic injuries, things like this, and your body, may not be able to recover from all of those things. So number one, you gotta set the priority. So for me, the powerlifting has always been the priority, but I really enjoyed running for my mental health. Yes, I know, hard to believe, and just my cardiovascular health as well. It's something that I enjoy doing that I know has cardiovascular benefits as well. So for me, lifting's been the priority, running has been kind of like the side quest, if you will, and I've maintained that. So there's been times where I'm like, oh man, I should run 3-4 times a week, but I'm like, nope, like twice a week seems to work really well. It allows my body to recover from any of the impact and things that I may, incur with those runs, and it doesn't really interrupt my training whatsoever, seemingly whatsoever. So twice a week, has been perfect for me for running. If you're just starting out, I recommend, like I said, number one, set your priority. And then number two, you need to make sure your program reflects that priority. So therefore, if your lifting is, the priority, you need to make sure you're lifting probably more than you're running, all right? And you also need to take into account that you can do a lot more damage, quote unquote, to your body, a lot more reps in a shorter amount of time with running. If you think of each step as a rep, you're doing, a few thousand reps in a very short period of time. So that's kind of how you should view running. It's a little bit more potent, if you will. So, lifting, obviously, if you're going pretty intense, that can be potent as well. But, running can be a little bit more potent. So you got to be careful when adding in running into your training program. So I recommend twice a week. That's worked really well for me. And how I laid out my program, I'm going to tell you exactly how right now. So Monday, I do my main squat workout. Tuesday is my main bench workout. Wednesday is my rest day traditionally, but when I started adding the running in, I started adding that in on Wednesday morning. Now, it's not Wednesday in the middle of the day, it's not Wednesday at night, Wednesday morning, it's early, 5 a.m., all right? And my thought process was, it's kind of almost like still Tuesday. I know it sounds weird, but it's like the back end of the Tuesday training day. So it's like I bench and then run early the next day. And then I have all of Wednesday and part of Thursday to recover prior to hitting my main deadlift day, which is on Thursday. Friday, I used to do like a secondary bench day, but I actually cut that out. I was finding that, it was just a little bit difficult to recover from the bench press. I was benching pretty heavy, 3 times a week. Now I might actually add that back in, but right now, again, my priority is this 15K plus 1500 total in one day. And that's, like I said, coming up in a couple weeks. So right now, I cut that lifting out before my last meet actually. And that's been really good for me to recover and also to allow me to have some time, dedicated time to work, do work for Fortis Fitness Studio, powerlifting, and just kind of get that stuff done. So Saturday is my second run. Again, I do it pretty early, so then in my brain I have all the rest of the day to recover, and Sunday prior to that squat day. So Saturday I usually run and lift. I've been doing that this whole time as well. I run 30 minutes and then I come in and I eat, whatever, and then I come in and do a SPD day. Now, usually that's just been like a lighter SPD day. Right now, again, I'm training for a very specific goal, 15K plus 1500 total in the same day. So it's been a little bit more geared towards that. So that's been my split. Then I rest again on Sunday. I would recommend trying something similar to that, where you put one of your running days on a rest day, and if you can get it in early, which everyone can, so I'm just gonna say that you can do it. You might have to hop on a treadmill if you can't, and go run outside wherever you live, but you can get it in early, and I like that because it really still feels like a rest day to me. I honestly don't notice it. Obviously, I got to get up, I got to get it done, but then after that, I'm just chilling the whole day. So I recommend putting one of those on a rest day after you hit your main squat. So that way your legs are feeling good for that. And then, you might want to do it after your main deadlift as well. It just kind of depends on the individual, depends on how you're going to respond to running, and it depends on your priority. So again, going back to that, you need to make sure you set your priority and then program from that. So once you've done that, like I said, finding a program that works for you, you're going to have to plug and play and see, what works good, what doesn't, what you can recover from, what you can't. And kind of play around with it. I recommend when you're first starting out, start out slow and small. Just start out like, 10, 15 minute running. That's it. You don't need a ton of stimulus, especially if you're not used to running. Just do that and that's gonna be good. Another thing, so these are the other like small things that I do that I think have made me successful in this running and powerlifting journey. And these are, I think the main two things, like I said, is setting the priority and then programming, based off that priority. But after that, you kind of get into these smaller things. And one of them is just going to be like having the proper equipment. So I'm a pretty big like barefoot shoe proponent. I've been wearing them for years, like decades. I used to wear like the Vivo 5 fingers. I might get a new pair. I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. But I've been down the barefoot running path before, and it's extremely painful. And for my goals, it just didn't line up. So I went the complete opposite direction, and I went for a max cushion shoe. This has been my friend since day one, and it has been amazing. I really feel like nothing on my feet afterwards. I feel, as I've gotten faster, I do feel a little bit, in my joints. Of course, it is higher impact. Running is high impact, period, dot. But I feel nothing in my feet. So I think a max cushion shoe is definitely gonna be your friend when you're trying to meld the powerlifting and running world into one. So grab yourself a max cushion shoe. Another thing is you need to track your heart rate. So that could just be on your watch, if you have an Apple Watch or a Garmin or something like that. If you don't have that, I recommend buying some sort of like heart rate tracker. If a watch is too much, you can just simply buy a heart rate monitor from Polar and attach it to your phone. Just carry your phone. And then that being said, if you do have a watch, I recommend getting a heart rate monitor anyways, because they're more accurate than the wrist. What this is gonna do is allow you to kind of mitigate the amount of recovery that your runs are going to take. So you're gonna have to recover from your runs, period, dot, right? It's an effort, it's stress on the body, it's high impact on the body. But if you can make it a little bit easier for your body to recover from that, then that is going to be extremely helpful for the rest of your powerlifting journey. So making sure you're not spending too much time in that 90% or above range, especially in the beginning, and honestly, like always, is gonna be essential. If that means you're just running and then walking, that's what I did in the beginning, right? Just run, walk. Don't let that heart rate spend too much time in that red zone, which is gonna be different for everybody, but you should, like I said, if you have some sort of tracker, you'll be able to see it visually. Don't spend too much time there, and by too much time, I mean like it should be, I don't know, like I would say on average, I would say no more than 5 to 10% of the time, whatever that time is, should be spent in that red zone. And what that's gonna do is, kind of promote recovery in your body, and it's not gonna like overstress your system too early. If you're spending a ton of time in that red zone, then your body's just going in like fight or flight mode throughout that entire run. And then you go to the gym, and then your heart rate gets crazy high in there too, because you're lifting the heavy weights, all right, and it's just like high all the time. So definitely make sure you get the proper equipment to do this goal. So I really think that's a good pair of shoes and a good heart rate monitor. That's gonna help you like monitor things and make sure you're good. So yeah, I think that's like the main things. The last thing is stay hydrated. I knew there was one thing I was forgetting. So you also want to make sure your body is hydrated. This one I often gloss over because I only have one kidney. So I've always been very cognizant of how much water I drink. But I understand not everybody is like that. So you want to make sure you're getting plenty of fluids in the day, and not just water, you guys. You're going to need some sort of electrolyte supplement. This is just going to help make sure your muscles stay hydrated, your body as a whole stays hydrated, so that you're ready to perform, whether that's a run or whether that is the lift. So make sure you guys are staying hydrated. And yeah, overall, I think that a lot of people could benefit from adding in some sort of longer form cardio, some sort of aerobic work. It's going to be extremely beneficial for your heart, and it could be beneficial for your training. I'll tell you right now, the benefits that I've seen, or some of the benefits I've seen in the powerlifting space, is I still get tired. So number one, I still get tired doing sets. So if I'm doing like a bigger set, like 3 to 5 reps with some heavier weight, don't worry, I'm still winded. But I'll tell you this, I can recover in between sets lightning fast. So I can do a rep or a set, and then turn around maybe like a minute or less, and I'm ready to go for the next one. And I know directly a result of the running. So there's a ton of benefits, cardiovascular benefits. If you're like myself and you just need to clear your mind, then running can be beneficial in that sense as well. And you can also plug in other cardiovascular exercises. It doesn't need to be running. If you got like access to an elliptical or a Stairmaster or a bike or something like that, you can kind of use these principles and apply it in the same way. Obviously, each one of those things is going to have their negatives. So like running, the biggest negative is the impact, right? If you're rowing, you might get a little sore. If you're doing a bike, again, you might get a little sore in the quad. So it just kind of depends, but you can use these same principles really take any type of steady state cardio, apply it to your training, and I think you can have success. So yeah, that's basically it, you guys. I know, like I said, it was a little bit longer form, but I just felt like this question needed a little bit more than just like a simple answer. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. Just to kind of recap, like I said, number one, you got to make sure you prioritize everything. You prioritize whether you're going to be running as your main goal or lifting as your main goal. Number two is going to be making sure your program makes sense for that prioritization. So if you're trying to prioritize running, it needs to be more running focused. If you're prioritizing lifting, it needs to be more lifting focused. I'm guessing most of you are going to be more lifting focused. From there, you need to make sure you have the proper equipment. So you're making sure you got your max cushion shoes or something, to protect yourself from the impact that you're going to incur, and track that heart rate. Trust me, the heart rate is not a fancy thing. I think a lot of people like to just be like, oh, whatever. But trust me, tracking your heart rate and making sure you're not spending too much time in that higher range, that 90% plus range of your heart rate max, is going to be essential for your recovery. And then last but not least, you guys got to make sure your body's staying hydrated. That's going to make sure you're ready for each session to come. All right, so hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please go ahead and leave a like, maybe a comment, share it with your friends, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.